I came up with something a little bit different than what you maybe or may not have seen before. I took the idea of throwing hand-thrown clay targets up, shooting them from the hip with a pump, and added one extra step. I want to add one of my expended hauls. I want to eject out of my shotgun and shoot that in between breaking all these clay targets. So we actually have seen exhibition shooters shoot the clay targets in the air. We watched myself shoot the hauls out of my gun. It was kind of a brainstorming idea and say, hey, let's cross these two. Let's put clay targets up in the air while shooting a haul out of my gun, taking it to a next step, really messing with my timing, really making it harder for my eyes to, again, let go of the clay targets and come back to my haul, then go back to clay targets again before hitting the ground. That's one thing that I wanted to try today, was somehow incorporate both little tricks, if you will, into one, because both of them, as hard as they are by themselves, together I think would really make a cool shot.
So consider today's shotgun target juggling. Staff Sergeant Josh Richmond is going to toss 2 clay targets into the air, shoot one, then pump out the hull and shoot it, and hit the second clay before it reaches the ground.
The variables that I'm going to be looking at today is, one, getting these clay targets up in the air, getting them to spread out so I can hit them successfully, as well as adding the actual shucking of this shotgun shell in an appropriate spot so I can hit it, and then continue to shoot these before they come to the ground.
For this shot, Sergeant Richmond is shooting a Winchester SXP 12-gauge shotgun and Winchester AA shot shells, size 7.5.
All right, here we go. There we go. These guns aren't really made to be doing these kind of acrobatics with it, if you will. The hardest part about this is, one, I'm shooting it from the hip. Okay, so the recoil isn't being accepted into my shoulder or in a proper stance from a shotgun shooter standpoint. I'm accepting all the recoil into my arms, my shoulders, and my elbows. So there's one variable that makes this harder. The other variable is I'm actually coming away from my body and shucking this shotgun in an up-like motion to get this haul to kick up in front of me, making it a suitable presentation so I can shoot it. So coming from, throw the clay targets up and shooting it, to coming out of my stance, shooting a haul, and then coming back into engaging targets again, really makes this thing hard for me. There we go.
Too easy. In fact, so easy, Sergeant Richmond is rolling on, adding another clay target. This time clay, the hole, and 2 more clay birds before anything hits the ground.
There we go.
Great breaks, too.
They were.
You're rolling right along today. 1 and 2, no problem, buddy. You're feeling good.
I am. Thank you, Mike. It's a little bit, making me a little bit more nervous, actually. This is coming too easy, too quick.
Oh, it doesn't. You can't ever come too easy, too quick. That's a kiss of death. Don't say that. But we are going to get a lot harder now, because we're going to take the same shot and we're adding another clay. So now you've got to deal with 4 clay targets.
This is exactly where it stops being easy and becomes very hard, actually, very quickly. We noticed when I shot the 3 clay targets up in the air, I shot a haul in between them. Those 2 targets were coming down quick. I broke the last one maybe 5-6 feet off the ground. Not much more time if we had another clay target into this mess.
Coming up next, Sergeant Richmond goes for the impossible. 4 clay birds and 1 shotgun hull.
There's no time for braking, no time for any kind of checking on anything as far as sight picture or anything mechanically. It's got to run smooth, and you just got to trust it and let it go. Dang it.
We're back on Impossible Shots. We're playing Army with Sergeant Josh Richmond of the USAMU shotgun team. Today, the sergeant is juggling shotgun targets.
I took the idea of throwing hand-thrown clay targets up, shooting them from the hip with a pump, and added one extra step. I want to add one of my expended hauls. I want to eject out of my shotgun and shoot that in between breaking all these clay targets.
So far, Josh has made quick work of 1 clay bird, a hull, then another clay.
There we go.
And adding a 3rd clay target proved no match for our Olympian.
I've done 1 haul 1 and 1 haul 2 in some shows that I've participated in, but never did I imagine I could go up to 1 haul 3. We noticed when I shot the 3 clay targets up in the air, I shot a haul in between them. Those 2 targets were coming down quick. I broke the last one maybe 5-6 feet off the ground. Not much more time if we had another clay target into this mess.
And add a fourth clay is exactly what we're doing. Sergeant Richmond now has to launch 4 clays into the sky, shoot 1 clay, the hole, then 3 more clay birds before they hit the ground. This is uncharted territory for Josh.
Let me change a little bit, gotta get a little higher. What I found out from practicing this a little bit is the first target, because I'm trying to jump on it so fast, can sometimes play games with you and you end up missing the first one, sometimes more than the last one. When it comes to the last shot or last couple shots, typically you're in a zone by then and you're moving through pretty consistently to where it becomes somewhat easier. And that's kind of what I'm hoping for today.
I don't think you realize just how little time Sergeant Richmond has to pull this shot off. Once he's thrown the clays up into the air, he's got to shoot one, hit the hole, and hit the others. I can't even tell you in time. He only has a couple seconds to pull this shot off.
And this shot is a lot about setup, visually and mechanically. So my eyes at first are going to go up to my first clay target coming off my hand, whichever one I pick out. I'm going to attempt for the lowest one to buy me more time on the higher risers, eject it, shoot this haul, keeping in mind where I somewhat last saw these clay targets, go straight back to the last 2 or 3, however many's left in the air, and continue in progression until I hit the ground.
Attempts are piling up, and Mother Nature is not cooperating. It's going to take a new plan of attack to pull this one off.
Well, we have a little bit of a tailwind right now, so when I'm throwing these targets up in the air, it feels like they're gaining about 10 feet more than what I'm wanting without me knowing. So I'm going to start by changing up my tactics a little bit. I'm going to throw the targets up here in front of me a little bit and allow the wind to take them out to my perfect shot zone where I want to break them.
As the stack gets bigger, does that make the throw harder?
The throw becomes harder in the sense that I need to get all 4 of these clay targets to spread out evenly, allowing me a good chance to hit them all with individual shots. Not only am I afraid of them sticking together, but as I'm adding more strength to this throw, they could break in my hand, resulting in a throw that we can't shoot. Got it right there. Whew!
That's what it took.
Finally, got up close and personal with them, but it did it.
That was awesome, man.
Man.
It took the different higher throw, didn't it?
That's what it did. This tailwind that we had today is really playing havoc with me in these clays, pushing them out farther and farther, and I wasn't feeling it. But I went ahead and got one in a little bit closer, gun shuck just right, got one haul in front of me, nailed it out there.
Yeah.
And finished up with the 3.
Let me hold that for you. Take a break.
All right, thank
Rest,
you.
Breathe. That's
a lot of work. Got it right there. Whew.